Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all 6th day of National Level Faculty Development Program on outcome-based education, teaching and learning capacity building. This FDP is organized by RBMI Group of Institutions, Asian Research Foundation, and Research Culture Society. I welcome you all. Today, it's my pleasure to welcoming Dr. Shamim Ara Hussain. Dr. Shamim Ara Hussain, she is an assistant professor, Center of Studies and Research in Education, School of Education, Central University of Gujarat. Dr. Hussain is working in a Central University of Gujarat. She has completed PhD in education from Devi Ahilya Vai Holkar, Indore, and due masters with NET. Dr. Shamim has published more than 25 plus research articles. She is a member of various committees at Central University of Gujarat and a lifetime member of All India Adult Education Association. I welcome you, ma'am. And today's session, you can start your session now.
Thank you so much, Aparna ma'am, for nice welcome and nice short and brief introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm sharing. Okay, sir. So my topic is competency-based curriculum development and outcome-based education. According to NEP 2020 or with reference to NEP 2020, we will discuss about competency-based curriculum development and outcome-based education. So I want to start my presentation with some questions. So do our students really learn what we expect them to learn? Please interact and respond to me.
They grasp according to their own base, like whatever their standard of understanding is, they understand according to their own thing.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. They are not learning according to us.
Okay. So you are agree to this question or this statement? Our students really learn what we expect them to learn. Means we are teachers or educationists are not fulfilling the expectations of society as well as parents or students. And how do we as teachers know if hello?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we have to go to their level so that they can understand whatever is happening in the classroom.
Right. Then my next question is, how do we as teachers know if learning has actually happened in our classrooms? Anyone else?
Got rapid questions at the end of the lesson.
Okay.
And there can be, if it is an offline class, obviously we can only give them group discussion or something like that, which we can conduct, and then like give them question based short questions, or so that they can give their answers. Or in group discussions we can just infer the whole thing, if they have understood the thing or not. So it can be games.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So you can say that okay, learning is accessible as well as evaluable. We can assess our learning through various type of activities and questions or discussions and homeworks, etc. These are some techniques from which we can assess our learning. Then, and most importantly, does our teaching is not real world skill, competencies and value. ये हम discuss करेंगे after some times. Now there are some statements. I want to know you are agree or disagree with these statements. Number one, most students pass examination, but very few achieve the intended learning outcomes. Are you agree?
Yes.
Next, if we cannot measure learning, we cannot improve teaching.
Again, a yes, ma'am.
Very good. Next, students today need competencies more than content knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
Assessment patterns is most colleges still promote rote learning rather than outcomes.
Mostly, ma'am. Most of the departments are like based on that.
Okay. Next, most course outcomes written in universities are neither measurable nor accessible.
Kind of, but we can come up with instruments which we can like assess and like measure what they are learning. The outcomes can be there.
True. In most of the universities or institutions or educational institution, the written outcomes or written objective, we can't assess or measure because they are not in actual or proper action verbs or behavioral terminology, which we have to use or we should use. Then every teacher should know whether their students have achieved each outcome before giving final grades. Agree or disagree?
Agree, ma'am.
Correct. Why?
Because as a teacher, I want to know if all the students have understood what I have taught in the class. And without understanding, if they are giving just digitalized answers, immediately I would know that they are just like given into rote learning and everything. So in that way, I cannot give the final grades without like accessing their actual understanding, knowledge that they have gained in the classroom.
As a teacher, we are responsible for our students' achievement, not in the form of grades or marks. We want to change in behavior of our students. We want to improvement in his or her skills. So we have to know whether students achieve or not, because content completion is not our duties. It is a part of our duties. But the goals which have decided by the curriculum developer or the policies do gives us various goals of education, we should achieve through our classes, not for only marks or grades. Next, NEP 2020 recommendations related to some pedagogy or competency-based learning or outcome-based learning are listed down. So number one is NEP 2020 section 4.4 is talked about the policy aims to shift the pedagogy from content-based to competency-based learning. Means NEP 2020 wants the pedagogy running in today's classrooms are not appropriate or only content centered, not competency based learning. So we have to shift in the pedagogy. Now, if we move to NEP 2020 section 4.6, it is talking about learning assessment must focus on development of core competencies, including higher order cognitive skills. So development of core competencies is an essential part of critical thinking and employability. So NEP talks about development of core competencies, and it want to include higher order cognitive skills, which is helpful for this today's generation, which is living in AI world. And NEP 2020 section 4.34 is talk about the curriculum shall be redesigned to make it competency based, promote experiential learning, and reduce rote learning. So NEP 2020 is focused on reducing the amount of rote learning, all the stages of education, not only in higher education. It is from bottom to top, means primary or pre-primary to higher education. We have to reduce the rote learning and focus on competency based education, which improve critical thinking and other competency based characteristics of our learners, which will helpful for social and worldwide adjustment of our students. Next, NEP 2020 section 4.34 and 4.35 is assessments will shift from rote memorization to test that measure application of knowledge, competencies, and skill. It means our assessment techniques or evaluation techniques are not sufficient for assess properly or appropriately our assessment, because individual differences lies in every classroom, every group. So only rote memorization is sufficient, if we think is sufficient for assessment. So it is, we are wrong at this point, because every individual has their own characteristics and their own skills. So assessment and measurement techniques we should do replace by application of knowledge, competency, and skill assessment test. Next, NEP 2020 section 4.38 is the goal of assessment will be progress toward achieving competencies rather than the memorization of facts. So in today's world, or if we see our childhood to today's education, it is only memory based. If we think about, or if we think about competitive exams, so it is also based, it was also based on rote memorization, not critical thinking or other skill based. So the goal of assessment will be progress toward achieving. So NEP 2020 is talking about the goal of assessment will be progress toward achieving competencies rather than the memorization of facts. So memorization is not a proper way to assess any student's achievement. Then NEP 2020 recommendations about higher education and outcomes and competencies. So NEP 2020 section 11.1, which is related to higher education curriculum. It is curriculum shall be developed to ensure that students acquire competencies, disciplinary knowledge, critical thinking, and problem solving. These are the very, very important skills for today's world. And ethical reasoning is last, means these are the main skills which should involve or include our curriculum either in school education or higher education, because these are the core skills which will help in future students or future persons. Next, NEP 2020 section 11.4, higher education institution will adopt a learning outcome based curriculum framework, which is made by our higher education curriculum framework is already completed by NCERT, NCTE, etc. higher bodies, and higher education institute is started adopting the learning outcome based curriculum framework. Then NEP 2020 section 11.5 is programs shall clearly articulate the expected learning outcome, including knowledge, skill, values, and disposition. So from today or from now, by now, we are writing our learning outcome or learning objective in the form of Bloom taxonomy action verbs. I think you all know Bloom taxonomy. You aware from Bloom taxonomy? Anyone else? Hello? Am I audible?
Ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So are you aware? Are you aware
Yes.
from
Yes.
Bloom taxonomy? By the interaction, our program is successful, and it is essential to active in any program, online program. Okay, so now, NEP 2020 section 11.5 programs shall be clearly articulate the expected learning outcomes, including knowledge, skills, values, and disposition. So Bloom taxonomy is based on only cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain, but while some skills are missing in Bloom taxonomy, like values, dispositions, and skills, in some affective domains levels, we can find this type of skills, values, and disposition, but our expected learning outcomes should be right, including knowledge, skill, values, and disposition for our future students or future social participants. Next, NEP 2020 repeatedly used the term competency based across school and higher education. So this is a very important terminology used by NEP 2020 in his report or in policy document, competency based. competency-based education is not for school, it is only for higher education too. So key phrases used in NEP 2020 related to competency-based education. So there are some key phrases which is used by NEP 2020 and related to competency-based education. Number one, shift from rote-based to competency-based learning. So we have to shift from rote memorization or rote-based education to competency-based learning. Next phrase is competency-based curriculum and pedagogy. So competency-based learning, which will require a competency-based strong curriculum and competency-based pedagogy also. Next key phrase is competency-based assessment. So overall process of teaching, learning process, curriculum, learning experiences, pedagogy, assessment techniques, these all should be based on competency-based curriculum and competency-based pedagogy and competency-based assessment techniques. It also talks about focus on skills, capacities, and disposition aligned to first century needs, because we are living in 21st century, and as we see around us, we are need to improvement in all our teaching learning process and pedagogies, assessment techniques, because we have to compete the world. This is AI world, so our students should be ready for compete the world. So we have to shift competency-based education. This means NEP 2020 emphasizes what a learner is able to do with knowledge, not just what they remember. Next is outcome-based education. So outcome-based education is the framework to achieve competency-based goals. So outcome-based education is not a terminology, it is a framework which is helpful in achieving competency-based goal framed by the government of India, framed by the society, framed by the policymakers, framed by the teacher. So competency-based education or outcome-based education is, both are the terms are very important used in NEP 2020. So what is competency? Competency means broader ability, which includes skill, knowledge, and attitude. These three terminology is integrated in the competency and form a strong ability or broader ability of a student. Effective communication competency, this includes the ability to present ideas clearly. This is related to skill. Understand communication theories and context. It is related to knowledge. Show confidence, empathy, and professionalism. It is related to attitude. These all are the components of competency. And research competency is another term which is related to higher education or teachers. It includes knowledge, skill, and attitude. Similarly, outcome. Outcome is a measurable evidence of competency. Outcome is after we teach, after teaching any component or any skill or any content, what student learn from our class, and it is a measurable. So measurable evidence of competency is outcome. For example, by the end of the course, student will be able to deliver clear, well-structured presentation and respond effectively to audience question. It is an outcome which is based on the class which was taken by a teacher or a leader or any place. We can measure our outcome. NEP 2020 sets competency-based goals. Outcome-based education provides the system to implement and measure them. NEP doesn't always use the term outcome-based education, right? OBE. Now OBE, outcome-based education, is the methodology used in higher education institutions, especially for accreditation. And OBE makes competency measurable, mapped, and assessed. OBE matches the National Higher Education Quality Framework learning outcome levels. Now there are some definitions of competency-based education and outcome-based education. So competency-based education focuses on what a learner is able to do. Skills, ability to do, skills, abilities, behaviors, disposition, and application of knowledge. While competencies is, as we saw in the previous slide, competencies is equal to knowledge plus skill plus attitudes. KSA, knowledge, skill, attitudes. The combination of knowledge, skill, attitude is called competencies. While outcome-based education is a structured framework that defines, measures, and evaluates learning outcomes at course program level. So outcomes is equal to measurable statement of learning performance. It should be measurable, achievable, time-bound, smart, specific, and related to your content or your class taken by you. Next, core differences between competency-based education and outcome-based education or competency-based. So focus on mastery of competencies. In competency-based education, we focuses on mastery of competencies like skills and abilities, while outcome-based education focus on achievement of learning outcomes. Achievement of learning outcome means after completion of your course or content or class, what will you achieve after your class? So it's focus on achievement of learning outcomes. It may be all, it may be not, it may be. It must be observable and measurable. Then competency based is broader abilities, teamwork, critical thinking, ethics, while outcome based is a specific statement such as course outcomes, and program specific outcomes, which is related to your content, your syllabus or curriculum. While broader abilities, teamwork, critical thinking, ethics is these are the abilities or characteristics or traits of a person which reflect time to time. Next is emphasizes learner readiness and skill mastery. While outcome-based education emphasizes curriculum design, mapping, and assessment alignment. Competency-based education is flexible pace of learning. It may or may not be. While outcome-based education is structured curriculum and fixed timeline. Competency-based education in NEP 2020 use the term competency-based repeatedly. While outcome-based education used by NAAC, National Board of Accreditation, operationalize NEP using OBE frameworks. For example, the learner demonstrates the ability to design, conduct, analyze, and present research ethically and systematically. While in outcome-based education, by the end of the course, it is 100% like your specific objectives. So, example of outcome-based education is by the end of course, a student will be able to design the conduct ethical research, analyze data and report finding accurately, prepare a research report using academic conventions. Then relationship between competency and outcomes. They are not opposite. These both terms are not opposite, but they are complemented each other. So competency, broad ability, outcome, specific measurable evidence of competency. For example, again, I wrote an example for competency and outcome. The competency is critical thinking, while outcome is the student will be able to analyze, compare, and evaluate different research methodologies. So analyze, compare, and evaluate, these are the component of critical thinking. Then competency, if we create competency related to critical thinking among our students will be able to analyze, compare, and evaluate any kind of situation or any type of content in their lives and their study part. So competency-based education defines the skills learners must master, while OBE defines the measurable outcomes that shows these skills have been achieved. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any doubt at any point, you can unmute yourself and ask your question or discuss anything with me. Okay? So what is outcome-based education? Core principle. Outcome-based education is a student-centered framework, not teacher-centered, not curriculum-centered, not syllabus-centered. It is student-centered framework that emphasizes measurable outcomes rather than mere content delivery. It is not related to 100%, is not related to content delivery, but it is related to measurable outcomes. Every academic component, lectures, labs, assignment, assessment is aligned to predefined learning outcomes. So, key feature of outcome-based education is measurable outcomes. Define knowledge, skill, competencies expected from students. Student-centered approach, focus on learners' growth, not just teaching content. Continuous assessment, regular evaluation to monitor progress and attainment. Alignment with standards. Learning outcomes aligned with national, international benchmarks. For example, in engineering, Washington Accord. Okay. Next, NEP 2020 vision, competency-based education. This is a flow to achieve outcome or competency-based education through NEP 2020's vision. So, competency-based education, then identify core competencies, knowledge, skill, attitude, values, etc. Translate competencies into specific measurable outcomes. First, you have to identify core competency among your curriculum or course. Then you have to translate your competencies into specific measurable outcomes or program specific outcomes or course outcomes. Then align curriculum, teaching, learning activities and assessment with outcomes. Then you have to align your curriculum with your teaching learning activities, your teaching learning experiences provided by you to your students and assessment with outcomes. Then implement outcome-based education, OBE framework, course outcome, program outcome mapping, attainment, continuous improvement, etc. These are the techniques which we are helping in implementation of outcome-based education. Now, continuous quality improvement. Then, from the feedback of your assessment, you can change your any part of curriculum or teaching technology, teaching methodology, teaching experiences or assessment techniques, and this cycle is go beyond and never ended. Now, why higher education needs outcome-based education now? So, what is the requirement of outcome-based education in higher education? Traditional materials, course offered content are no longer sufficient indicators of quality. So, daily to 4 or 5 classes or 6-hour classes or so many courses of our content, our syllabus are not sufficient indicators of quality. We can't say this institution is very effective or this institution's education is very effective or very competent or very sufficient for today's world due to or because they are taking so many classes and their syllabus are very high or very high quality books. So this is not sufficient. So no longer sufficient indicators of quality. Next, stakeholders. Students, parents, employers, accreditation bodies like NAAC, National Body of Accreditation, demand evidence of real learning outcomes, knowledge, skill, competencies, and readiness for real world challenges. When we invite NAAC or NBA for our institutional accreditation, they're demanding evidence of real learning outcomes in the form of knowledge, skill, competencies, and readiness for real world challenges, and they want our alumni or a list of alumni which are working in various institutions or very worldwide institutions and contribute their knowledge to society. And the key shift from how much did we teach, what did the student actually learn. अभी हमें ये देखना है कि हम कितना पढ़ा, हमें ये नहीं देखना है कि हम कितना पढ़ा सकते हैं, कितना टीच कर सकते हैं. Why? What did the student actually learn? हमारा फोकस होना चाहिए स्टूडेंट एक्चुअली कितना लर्न कर रहे हैं, कितना सीख रहे हैं, हमें कितना लोड देना है. If I take 10 classes in a day, but student learn a single point or single concept in whole day or not or confused in my classes, सो वो यूजफुल नहीं है, वो सफिशियंट नहीं है. सो हाउ मच डिड वी टीच, इस पर फोकस नहीं होना चाहिए. हमें शिफ्ट करना है स्टूडेंट्स को. हमें उसका एक्चुअली मिनिमम स्मॉल पार्ट में हमें सिखाना है, पार्ट्स में हमें सिखाना है, बट वो उसका यूजफुल होना चाहिए, यूटिलिटी होना चाहिए, और कहीं ना कहीं उसके बिहेवियर में मॉडिफिकेशन होना चाहिए. So amount of the teaching is not important. We have to shift amount of teaching in actual learning. So what do OBE learning outcomes incorporate? Application of knowledge in real world, not just theory but practical relevance. Critical thinking and problem solving skill, we can include various type of various type of content or pedagogy method or pedagogies or teaching methodology or teaching experiences to improve critical thinking and problem solving skills among students. Professional ethical responsibility, understanding the values and accountability. Soft skills like communication, teamwork, leadership, these all are helpful in enhancing employability and readiness for workplace. Then why institutions should adopt outcome-based education? So higher accreditation scores. If you want to higher scores in accreditation by NAC or NBA, you should emphasize outcome-based frameworks. Systematic outcome-based education adoption aids in achieving higher scores in NAC or NBA. Improve teaching quality. Faculty plans courses around clear outcomes, leading to more purposeful teaching and better identification of learning gaps. It is another importance of OBE in educational institution. Next, enhanced students' employability, which is very crucial or very important factor of any because various institutions place their students in industries. So if you want to enhance students' employability, you should adopt OBE. So graduates are not only degree holders, but also are equipped with real world competencies, making them more employable from day one. Then global recognition and mobility. Alignment with international standards, other foreign universities, इसमें example मैंने दिया है, Washington Accord, and allows institutions to be globally competitive, eases mobility of students internationally, and compliance with national policy. In light of National Education Policy 2020, which emphasizes competency-based outcome-driven learning, OBE resources, compliance, and relevance. So this is the structure of today's education system. So we are fortunate that we are not 100% teacher-centric education. We have learner-centric education also. So intended learning outcomes, which comes from what do I want my student to learn. Then how do I know that learning does happen? Assessment, through assessment. Then how can I facilitate that learning? Through teaching and learning activities. What do I know about my student? Then again, intended learning outcomes. So these are this cycle of teaching learning process, and we can assess our outcomes through various types of techniques and assessment tasks. Then basic outcome-based education framework. These are some short forms of course outcome, program outcomes, program specific outcomes, and program educational objectives. So these are some key terminology which is used in NEP 2020, and our curriculum planners are also using this terminology before they write objectives or course outcomes. So course outcomes means what a student should be able to do after each course. If you have 5 or 6 courses in your first semester or second semester, so overall experiences given by you through all courses. So what a student should be able to do after each course, it's called course outcomes. Next terminology is program outcomes. So overarching competencies and skill expected upon completion of entire program. Course outcomes is related to particular course, while program outcomes is related to particular program like B.Ed, M.Ed, B.A, M.Ed, B.Com, M.Com, LLB, this type of programs. So overarching competencies and skill expected upon completion of entire program is called program outcomes. So we have in any program, we have course outcome, program specific outcome, and program educational objectives also. So program specific outcomes. It is related to discipline, specific skills and competencies. Like as an educationist, or we have a M.Ed program or B.Ed program. So program specific outcome is related to educational. Education means my discipline. And its specific skills like teaching skills, various teaching skills, how we can use various teaching devices or AI or ICT in education. So these are the skills. What is communication or effective communication of a teacher or a student, or various type of feedback format or use of various devices in education. This is related to my discipline skills. So program specific outcomes is related to your discipline only, not in general. It is specific in nature. Then program educational objectives. These are long-term objectives reflecting what graduates should achieve in their early career or professional life. It is a general objectives of any program which is related to your students' future life. It is not more important for you. So sample for life science, if you are a life science student or life science teacher, so for graduate attributes, लाइफ साइंस के लिए हम देख सकते हैं कि कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव हम उसमें क्या क्या क्वालिटीज है जो एक्सपेक्ट की जा सकती हैं. सो ब्रॉड क्वालिटीज एक्सपेक्टेड इन एवरी ग्रेजुएट. जो कुछ ब्रॉड क्वालिटीज हैं जो साइंस के स्टूडेंट्स को, अगर हम साइंस पढ़ाते हैं स्टूडेंट्स को, इफ वी टीच साइंस इन क्लासरूम्स और इफ वी आर अ साइंस टीचर, so we have some expectations of students because we are science teacher. So scientific temper and inquiry, research aptitude, analytical reasoning, ethical conduct and biosafety consciousness, technical competency in laboratory skills, teamwork and interdisciplinary collaboration, digital competency and data analysis skills, environmental responsibility and sustainability values, effective communication of scientific ideas. These are the list of some expectations which is a teacher, which teacher expect from his or her students after completion of his course. So if we write scientific program educational objectives, so there are some graduates, there are some program educational objectives for graduates. So professional growth. Graduates will work effectively as researcher, analyst, laboratory specialist, educators, or industry scientists, because these are related to your program. So it is based on your programs skills and what you want before, or what were your program outcomes. It is based on your program's outcomes. Then research excellence. Graduates will contribute to scientific discovery through rigorous experimental research and publications, ethical and sustainable practice. Graduates will uphold ethics, biosafety and environmental responsibility in specific practice. Leadership and innovation. Graduates will demonstrate leadership in biotechnology, diagnostics, pharmaceuticals and related sectors. Then program outcomes. What a student must achieve by the end of program. It's called program outcomes. It is not semester based. It is these are based on your whole program, 2-year program, 3-year program, 4-year program. So this is based on your whole program. So program outcome 1, knowledge based, demonstrate advanced understanding of. It is I used a science because I am a science student earlier. So and I'm basically science student, but so I use science example for you. So program outcome 1 is knowledge, demonstrate advanced understanding of cell biology, molecular biology, genetics and physiology. Program outcome 2, it is related to research skill. Design experiments, collect data, use analytical instruments, and interpret results. Third one is problem solving, apply biological concepts and to address issues in health, agriculture, environment, and biotechnology. Next one is laboratory skills, perform experiments using standard protocols following biosafety and ethical guidelines. This is combination of knowledge, skill, and attitude. Program outcomes are based on skill, attitude, and competencies. So data analysis, use bioinformatics tools, statistics software, and digital platforms to analyze biological data. Communication skill, present scientific ideas through seminars, posters, reports, and publications. Next one is ethics and professionalism, demonstrate ethics, biosafety, and responsible conduct in research. And last one is teamwork, work collaboratively in research teams and interdisciplinary environments, etc., etc. Then programs specific outcomes. Program specific outcomes is based on your overall program, as earlier we say, but it is specific to only your discipline. It is limited to your discipline only. It is not, we can't write them in general way. It is related to your specific discipline. So program specific outcome, one example, experimental biology expertise, carry out molecular, cellular, microbiological, and biochemical experiments. Next, life science research competency, use modern research techniques, PCR, DNA sequencing, chromatography. Applied biotechnology skills, apply biotechnology in industry, healthcare, agriculture, and environmental application. Scientific documentation and reporting, prepare scientific reports, lab records, and research manuscripts. Now, course outcomes. Course outcome, so these are some example for course outcome for content on molecular biology. So describe molecular structure and function of DNA, RNA, proteins. Course outcome 2, explain mechanism of replication. So course outcome is based on your content of your course. Earlier we wrote program objectives, objectives in our syllabus, but now we have to replace the term objectives with course outcomes. So number 2, explain mechanism of replication, transcription, translation, and gene regulation. Number 3, perform techniques such as DNA isolation, gel electrophoresis, PCR, and cloning. Analyze gene expression data and interpret experimental results. Apply molecular biology concept to solve biological and biotechnology problem. So these are some examples for course outcomes. The course was molecular biology, and these are related to, these all course outcomes are based on molecular biology only. Next, how to write course outcomes using SMART principle. So SMART principle is a very important principle for writing objective, or if you write research question or research objective, you should use SMART principles for writing your objectives or outcomes. SMART, the full form of SMART is S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant to your content, relevant to your course, relevant to your topic, and T for time bound, because we have very limited time to teach any content in the classroom. Number 1 is specific. So course outcomes must clearly state what the student will learn or will do. It should be very specific in nature. So use action verb, which is measurable. Refer to a single skill or concept. You can't combine 2 or 3 concepts in a single course outcome, because they create confusion. So avoid vague words like understand, know, and appreciate unless explained further. So understand, know, and appreciate, it is unmeasurable terminology. These all terminology are unmeasurable. So we should use only action verb, because we should measure our outcomes. Example, not specific. This is a general objective or general course outcome, not a specific outcome. The student will understand cell division. While smart version is student will describe. Describe is a action verb, which is you may find in Bloom taxonomy or any other taxonomies to writing objective or learning outcome or course outcome. So smart version is student will describe the stages of mitosis and meiosis. It is a very specific objective related to our content, and student will understand cell division. So it is unmeasurable. And what is the degree of understand? Low understand, average understand, high understand. So there is no degree to measure understand, degree of understand. So it is a unclear objective, not a specific objective. So you should write your objective or course outcome in smart version. So it is a clear, measurable, time-bound objective or course outcome. Student will be described the stages of mitosis and meiosis. So clear? Any doubt? How to write course outcomes using SMART principle. Then the aim for measurable. So your objective or course outcome should be measurable or accessible. So course outcomes must be observable and assessed using various types of tools like test, assignments, lab works, rubrics, activities, performance. So use measurable verbs from Bloom taxonomy like identify, classify, analyze, design, evaluate, apply, construct, interpret. You can assess or measure your course outcome by this terminology. And not measurable objective example is student will appreciate the importance of biodiversity. It is not measurable. How you can measure? Appreciate terminology. Yes. Appreciate means what? So smart version is students will evaluate conservation strategies to protect biodiversity. So evaluate is a terminology which is come by Bloom taxonomy, and we can evaluate our students through this terminology. Next is achievable. Course outcomes must be realistic within the course duration, credit load, and student level. Achievable means time bound, which are achievable in a limited time or limited duration. So avoid outcomes that require advanced expertise beyond course scope. If you are teaching in B.Ed classroom, your scope is limited. If you are teaching in M.Ed classroom, your scope is wide. And if you are teaching PhD coursework or PhD class students, PhD research scholars, so your scope is more wide than a graduate. So avoid outcomes that require advanced expertise. Align with faculty expertise and available resources. It is very important point because we have limited faculty expertise and we have limited resources, infrastructures, we have limited availability of electricity and other resources. So you should your course outcome should be aligned with faculty expertise and available resources. For example, it is not achievable. Students will perform advanced gene editing using CRISPR. While the smart version of same objective or course outcome is student will demonstrate basic gene manipulation techniques such as PCR and gel electrophoresis. Next, your course outcome should be relevant. So, and must be aligned with program outcomes, program specific outcomes, course content, job roles and industry needs, and NEP 2020 competency focus. So your course outcome should be relevant. This is an example of non-relevant and or not relevant course outcome. Student will compose poetry about DNA. It is not related. Compose poetry about DNA means what? And how you will measure your achievement of the student. So a smart version of this course outcome is student will interpret gene expression data using appropriate analytical tools. Now, your course outcomes should be time bound, because you or we all have a limited time period to completion of our course, and between our course we have to conduct examination in assignments, we have to conduct practicals. So our course outcome should be time bound and must be achievable within time duration of one semester or given period, and clearly linked to assessments. So every course outcome must be connected to one or more assessment components, not based on only single assessment components. It based on one or more. You can use various type of performance or practicums in for assessment purpose in your course, and you can also assign or you can also take test or examination for assessment purpose. Then time frame, completion of the course. So this is the example, not time bound course outcome. Student will develop lifelong ethics in research. So it is not time bound. Then smart version is, by the end of the semester, students will apply biosafety and ethical guidelines while conducting laboratory experiments. Then template for writing smart course objectives. So use this to create any course objective. By the end of this, we should use this terminology to writing smart course outcome. By the end of this course, student will be able to, now you can use, or you should use, any action verb from Bloom taxonomy and related to content, using method, then context, in order to purpose or outcome. For example, by the end of this course, students will be able to apply is action verbs, qualitative analysis methods to interpret classroom observation for research reporting. This is a template of smart course of outcomes. Then maybe this is not important for you. And action verbs for cognitive domain in revised Bloom's. This is a revised Bloom taxonomy, and revised Bloom taxonomy has 6 level of cognitive domains, has 6 levels: remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create. And in revised, it is remembering, understanding, applying, creating, analyzing, and creating. So the remember means recall, related to recall and recognition information. Explain, understand means explain ideas or concept. Apply for use knowledge in new situation. Analyze for break information into parts and explore relationship. Evaluate for make judgments based on criteria. Create for generate new ideas, products, or ways of understanding. And these are the action verbs or comprehensive list for action verbs, which is based on various levels of Bloom taxonomy, and we should use these action verbs, only these action verbs, in our course outcomes. When we write course outcome, we should use these action verbs, because these all are the measurable and observable. Sample for education. If as we are from education background, so sample for education: MA graduate profile, teacher educator, academic researcher, curriculum developer, education policy advisor, educational technologist, assessment specialist, school administrator, NGO education project lead. So graduate attributes for MEd program: disciplinary knowledge and educational insight, research competency and inquiry skills. So disciplinary knowledge and educational insight is the attribute of a graduate which is pass out from educational discipline or educational program. So aligned with NEP 2020 competencies, 21st century skills and professional roles in education. So number 1 is disciplinary knowledge and educational insight is a very important graduate attribute of any MEd program students. So graduate possess advanced understanding of educational foundations, pedagogical theories, curriculum process, policy frameworks, and emerging trends essential for effective teaching, research, and leadership in education. Second attribute is research competency and inquiry skill among MEd students. So graduate demonstrate strong research abilities because we have a project or dissertation in our MEd program or master's program. We have project in our B.Ed program. So it is our expectation from students that graduate demonstrate strong research abilities include problem identification, literature review, qualitative and quantitative research design, data analysis, and academic writing, enabling them to contribute to evidence-based educational practice and policy making. Next one activity is professional pedagogical expertise. So graduates are capable of designing, delivering, and evaluating teacher education programs grounded in learner-centered, competency-based, and outcome-focused pedagogies, integrating inclusive, innovative, and reflective practices. Number 4 is curriculum and instructional design ability. Graduates can conceptualize and develop curricula, learning resources, instructional strategies, and educational materials aligned with national standards, NEP 2020, and global benchmarks. Now, program educational objectives. So, advanced pedagogical expertise. Graduate will demonstrate deep understanding of pedagogical theories, contemporary educational practice, and evidence-based strategy. Next one is research competencies. Graduate will engage in high quality educational research and contribute to academic, institutional, and policy level reforms. Then leadership and professionalism. Graduates will take up roles as competent teacher educators, academic leaders, curriculum designers, and educational professionals. Number 4 is ethical and inclusive practices. So program educational objective is graduate will uphold professional ethics, promote inclusion, equity, and apply values drawn from Indian knowledge system. Next, program educational outcomes or objective is lifelong learning and innovation. Graduate will adapt to emerging trends in digital pedagogy, assessment reforms, and continuously upgrade educational competencies. Next one, program outcomes for education program. Pedagogical knowledge, demonstrate advanced understanding of teaching, learning theories and models. Research skill, design, conduct, analyze, and present qualitative and quantitative research in education. Next program outcome is curriculum and assessment competency. These all program outcomes is related to our various courses which are teaching in our M.Ed, Masters or B.Ed programs. So curriculum and assessment competency, develop curricula, instructional strategies, assessment tools, and evaluation metrics. Next one is critical and reflective thinking. Analyze educational issues using reflective inquiry and problem-solving approaches. Use of digital ICT tools. Integrate digital technologies, online learning platform, and blended learning models. Leadership and management. Apply principles of educational management policy, governance, and institutional leadership. Inclusive and value-based education. Promote inclusive, multicultural, ethical, and value-based educational practices. Then communication skill is the most important part of our curricula. So demonstrate strong academic writing, presentation, and facilitation skills. Next one is professional ethics. Exhibit ethical behavior, transparency, and professional accountability in educational setting. Then research dissemination. Publish research papers and contribute to seminar, conference, and academic discourses. Next, program specific outcome, discipline specific outcomes tailored to M.Ed. It is related to M.Ed program. Yeah, education program, MA in education program. Teacher education expertise, ability to train, mentor, and evaluate pre-service and in-service teachers. Educational research and policy insight, ability to interpret policies like NEP 2020, National Curriculum Framework, National Higher Education Curriculum Framework or Quality Framework, and contribute to evidence-based reforms. Next one is instructional design and pedagogy innovation. Design learner-centered, competency-based, and outcome-based instructional materials for learners. And advanced assessment literacy. Develop and analyze tools for diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. These all are related to program-specific outcomes. Then sample course outcomes. Sample of 4 course outcomes. It is related to your specific course. For example, your course is Advanced Educational Psychology. So you can write your course outcome is like that. Explain major theories of learning and human development. Analyze cognitive and socio-emotional process related to learning. Next, apply. Before this statement, you can write is to after completion of the course or this particular course, the student will be able to explain Major theories of learning and human development, analyze cognitive and social-emotional processes related to learning, apply psychological principle to classroom teaching and learner engagement, evaluate motivational strategies using case analysis, and develop psychological assessment plans for diverse learners. So these are the example for course outcomes of a course which is which is taught by a teacher in a M.Ed or B.Ed classroom, and the course name is Advanced Educational Psychology. So this is the mapping table. You can map your course outcome, program specific outcome, or this is a blueprint of your program or program specific and program of, or course specific objectives. So continuous quality improvement. If you want to continuous quality improvement, you can plan, do and check your assessment or your everything which is involved or which is part of your curriculum. You have to assess and check each and every part for betterment of your teaching learning process or continuous quality improvement. So you have to continue, plan, do, check and act accordingly, according to your feedback comes after your class. So outcome-based education in national, international context. So for technical professional programs like engineering and pharmacy, etc., adoption of outcome-based education is mandatory for accreditation under bodies like National Board of Accreditation. If your institution is a technical institution or a pharmacy or medical institution, if you want to invite accreditation team for visit and providing grade for your institution, so you have to implement outcome-based education in your institution. OBE aligns with global standards like Washington Accord, enabling international recognition and mobility. So Washington Accord, it is a body which provides international recognition of your institution and mobility, also provide mobility to your institution. So it is requirement of Washington Accord like bodies. So your course must be aligned with outcome-based education and global standards. In context of NEP 2020, outcome-based education supports India's vision for competency-based learner-centered higher education. Then impact on students and society. So what is the impact of outcome-based education or competency-based education on students and society? So students graduate not just with degrees, but with real-world skills, theoretical, practical knowledge, soft skill, ethical awareness, better employability and readiness for work. Next, institutions build stronger reputation, higher accreditation ratings, which improves quality of higher education in the country. So if your institution want a stage or a step or a high accreditation or rating among a country or internationally, it is mandatory for your institution to follow OBE. Helps bridging gap between academia and industry social needs, because outcome-based education talks about attitude, skills and competencies. So it is very, very helpful to grow students benefited social elements or like students for society, and it helps bridge gap between academia and industry or social needs. It produces graduates who can contribute meaningfully from day one. So OBE is the future of higher education in India. OBE is not just a trend, but a necessary paradigm shift to ensure quality. It is a necessary paradigm shift because we want to shift from rote learning to competency-based learning. That is OBE, and it is a tool. OBE is a tool for shifting of our paradigm. So relevance and accountability in higher education. Institutions that implement outcome-based education effectively can produce graduates who are not just academically qualified or only degree holders, but these are industry ready, globally competitive, ethically aware and socially responsible persons or people. As higher education evolves under NEP 2020 in global competition, OBE offers a sustainable, meaningful, and measurable way forward. Steps to implement outcome-based education in an institution and in our institution. Number one step, define course outcomes. You have to define course outcome first because you have a course. So define course outcomes, which should be clear, measurable, achievable, relevant outcomes for each course. Step 2, map COEs, means map course outcomes to program outcomes. We are switching to course outcome to program outcomes. That is ensure each course contributes to broader program objectives. Step 3, use tool for tracking and management. For outcome mapping, attainment tracking, reporting, especially helpful for accreditation. Step number 4 is continuous assessment and feedback. Regular evaluation, monitoring, feedback loops to ensure learning objectives are met and teaching is refined. Because after your assessment, all teachers getting feedback from their students, and after that teachers can refine this teaching methodology or assessment techniques. So outcome-based education is specific digital platform. These are some digital platform which is working in outcome-based education. So learning coach QUCH OBE प्लेटफॉर्म, ये जो वर्क करता है तो ये किस किस चीज के लिए आपकी हेल्प करेगा? कोर्स आउटकम एंड प्रोग्राम आउटकम मैपिंग, अटेनमेंट डैशबोर्ड्स, एक्रीडिटेशन रेडी रिपोर्ट्स, NEP 2020 अलाइनमेंट. सेकंड, iCloud EMS OBE मॉड्यूल है ये. तो कोर्स आउटकम, प्रोग्राम स्पेसिफिक आउटकम मैपिंग में इसका यूज किया जा सकता है. देन अटेनमेंट कैलकुलेशन, automated curriculum files used widely in NEC, NBA colleges, course files. Third one is InPods, OBE and learning management system. Outcome mapping, Bloom level tagging, accreditation documentation, and student analyst. Number 4 is EduMerge OBE module. This is helpful in course outcome assessment, continuous evaluation, digital academic records. And number 5 is Academy और TechMint हायर एजुकेशन मॉड्यूल्स, मैपिंग एंड अटेनमेंट में हेल्प करता है, असेसमेंट लिंकेजेस में हेल्प करता है. देन यूनिवर्सिटी लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम विद आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन प्लगइन्स. If institutions already have learning management system, they can extend it. Moodle LMS, which is helpful in outcome mapping, rubric-based assessment, and competency tracking. Next, Canvas LMS, competency-based pathway, rubric plus analytics. These are some examples of online course outcome, program outcome platforms. These are some examples. Now, recommendations for your institution. So, form a committee to define program outcomes, program-specific outcomes, course outcomes for all programs. So, if you want to adopt or implement outcome-based education in your institution, so you have to form or constitute a committee to define program outcomes, program-specific outcomes. It is based on only your departmental level, not on university level. So form a committee to define program outcome, program-specific outcome, course outcomes for all programs. Then conduct faculty training workshop on outcome-based design, assessment, methods, mapping. Use digital tools like learning management system, ERP, for outcome tracking and data management. Pilot OBE in few courses. You have to implement a OBE on a specific courses first. So a pilot study is necessary for before implementation of outcome-based education on overall program. So a pilot study or pilot OBE is in few courses or programs, gather feedback and refine process. Then engage stakeholders, students, employers, accreditation bodies for continuous improvement in your program or outcome-based education. Now, OBE is not only about mapping and metrics, it is a philosophy. So, because it is used by, this term outcome-based education is used by NEP 2020, and NEP is also based in our Indian philosophy. So, OBE is not only mapping and metrics, it is a philosophy in itself. So most people think OBE is equal to charts plus mapping and attainment calculations, etc. But OBE is fundamentally a shift in mindset. Shift in mindset, how? From teaching to learning. We have to shift from teaching to learning, from content to competencies, and from marks to evidence of performance through various activities and assessment or task or performance or test or examination. So no, it is not related to only marks. And OBE is a cultural change, not a technical one. So next slide is outcome-based education improves students' engagement if implemented properly. So it is very useful and very improvable or very important terminology given by NEP 2020, which can improve student engagement, and it reduces overall burden of teacher as well as students, because students know what is expected, how they will be assessed. Everything is clear. Everything is very, very clear and transparent in OBE, because program specific objective is clear, course outcome is clear, program outcomes is clear, program specific outcomes are clear. So everything is clear. So student, what is expected, how they will be assessed, what skills they must demonstrate, what evidence they need to produce. It increases accountability and self-direction, not only in teacher, students as well. So OBE is not rigid. It supports academic freedom. It is not rigid. It looks like very rigid structure and neck, and we use various type of terminology and various type of format and rubrics, etc. But OBE is not rigid. It supports academic freedom. Many teachers feel OBE limits creativity. Outcomes are fixed, but methods are flexible. In outcome-based education, outcome may be fixed, but not methodology, not learning experience are fixed. Teachers can choose various type of methods, various types of strategies, very different type of teaching materials. They can change in sequencing of content or presenting the content as long as students achieve outcomes. Attainment is not equal to marks. So this is a major misconception. Marks show performance in an examination, while attainment shows achievement of an outcome. So in OBE focuses on attainment, not marks, not a performance in exams or tests. A student who gets 60% may have high attainment in course outcome 2 or course outcome, or low attainment in course outcome 4. Agree? A student who gets 75% marks, maybe he is very well in performance or writing and very weak in Viva. So high attainment in CO course outcome 2 and low attainment in course outcome 4. It may be possible in any single course. And outcome-based education gives a deeper picture than marks. Question to outcome mapping is the missing link. Most institutions map course outcome and program outcomes, but they fail to map each exam question, which is followed by course outcome. Without question level mapping, attainment is inaccurate, NAC, NBA audits fail, and data does not reflect learning. Rubrics are essential for meaningful outcome-based education. So you cannot measure without rubrics: communication, presentation, teaching practice, teamwork, research proposal, critical thinking. Rubrics make OBE evidence-based. Then OBE promotes continuous quality improvement. So outcome-based education requires that institutions analyze each semester, identify weak outcomes, revise teaching assessment, On the base of feedback came by outcomes and improve course outcome and program outcomes mapping, refine curriculum. This align directly with IQAC's mandate in higher educational institution, either college or universities. OB helps identify teaching issues early. If course outcome 2 attainment is low for 3 years, teaching method needs revision, assessment method is misaligned, or course outcome wording is wrong. So we can change at any stage. We can change teaching method, we can change assessment method, or we can change our course outcome wording, and we make a smart course outcome which is measurable, accessible, and time bound. Outcome-based education helps diagnose academic issues scientifically because it is very structured and a very clear and systematic process. That's why we can diagnose academic issues scientifically, systematically, step by step. OB is the future, competency-based plus data-driven. Because we have data of our outcomes and we have rubrics and we have various evidence in the form of various documents. So it is data driven. NEP 2020 National Higher Education Qualification Framework and global standard indicate content-based teaching will become obsolete. Data-driven teaching will be the norm. Every faculty will need to show measurable outcomes. OB prepares institutions for this inevitable future. OB understanding checklist. So this is a checklist by which you can check your understanding or OBE, or you can check outcome-based education. So I understand the core philosophy of outcome-based education. This is for you. You can rate 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can differentiate between competence after. So my course outcome, yeah, my course outcomes. Suppose today is my class and my outcome is after completion of my lecture. You can, a student will be able to. So this is your or my checklist, and you can write or rate yourself from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I understand the core philosophy of outcome-based education. I can differentiate between competency-based education and outcome-based education. I understand the structure, graduate attributes, program educational objectives, program outcomes, program specific objectives, and course outcomes and course outcomes. I can identify and write smart course outcomes. I can use action verbs from revised Bloom's taxonomy for writing outcomes. I understand how to map course outcomes to program outcomes and program specific outcomes meaningfully, not randomly. I know how to link each exam assessment question to specific course outcomes. Because your all questions are based on your course outcomes. I can calculate course outcome attainment and interpret attainment levels. I understand how program outcomes attainment is driven from course outcome attainment. I can design assessment including rubrics that measure intended outcomes. I can distinguish between marks and outcome attainment. They are not the same. I understand how NEP 2020 promotes competency-based and outcome-based learning. I understand how outcome-based education supports accreditation, NAC and National Body of Accreditation, and continuous improvement. I understand how we connect to global standards such as the Washington Accord, etc. So you can check through this checking list. And concluding learning activity, 1 side plus 1 action plan is noted one. And in the last, teaching is not about covering the syllabus, it is about uncovering learning. Thank you so much. So this is my presentation, and I hope I provide or I share some knowledge with you, and hopefully you understand some terminology related to outcome-based education and program-based outcomes, course outcome, and various type of terminology used in this presentation. So thank you so much for listening patiently, and thank you so much. Can I stop sharing?
We have learned lot many things from your today's session. So thank you so much, ma'am. And dear participants, as today is the last day of the FDP, I am sharing the link with you. So you just fill that, then only you can leave the meeting, because this is mandatory to fill the feedback form.
Can I leave, Aparna ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for providing me opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participant, I have shared the feedback form. You just fill this form and then you can leave the meeting. Thank you so much, all of you, for your presence in this 6 days FDP program. I hope you have learned lot many things from this program. Next time, we will again inform you if we are conducting any kind of FDP. So thank you so much. Thank you. And one more information, those who have not filled minimum 5 days of feedback with online attendance will not receive certificates. So please fill the feedback form so that you will receive the certificate on time.